102.7 FM.
It's young to the beginners.
As you know, and of course for those just joining, Political Perspective is a program designed to take a deeper insight on what the paper is saying. For those just joining the program for the first time, Political Perspective helps you understand what the paper is saying because we take a deeper insight on what we have in the headlines today. My name is Florence Ibhareman, and of course, with me on the program this morning for better analysis of what the paper is saying is Alaba Adeyemi. Good morning, Alaba Adeyemi.
Good morning, Nigerians. It's a lovely Tuesday morning, and I'm very happy to be here.
I hope you're ready for the many questions that we have for you today.
Well, God willing, we'll be able to do justice to them.
Okay, as you know, we don't just report the news, we take our time to analyze what the paper is saying. And of course, beginning this morning with the Sun newspaper, where we have this headline I did like us to talk about, and that's concerning the NLC pushing for a new minimum wage. Now, the story entails the union president saying it's about time for the minimum wage to be looked into, and not just the minimum wage for active seven members, but also for those who have retired, looking into the pension scheme so that those who have lived their active life working will not just become redundant after service here. So what do you think this headline has to do, especially in the lives of those who have retired from active service?
Well, let me say that it is the duty of the workers' union to consistently ask for increment in wages.
Okay.
It is what they do. It is all over the world. Agitation for increment in wages is one of the duties, one of the actions that labor unions take. But this demand is ill-timed. It's ill-timed and it's experimental in all its ramification because of the fact that why did we have to increase the minimum wage in the first instance? One, there was a time when the subsidy was removed and the dual exchange rate that we were using was unified.
Okay.
That's made our currency to lose value. That necessitated the need for us to also increase the wages of workers. But as we speak, the value of Naira has stabilized relatively. And as a matter of fact, the value of the Naira has been on the ascending order, has been on the ascendancy. So we must be practicable. The practicable thing now is the fact that we are not looking for an increment in minimum wage.
Okay.
We should be looking for a situation whereby the value of the Naira will jump a little higher so that the money will gain more value. Another thing that we must also take into account is the fact that to increase the minimum wage require an act of parliament. It means that it is a law. And as we speak, many private organizations cannot even pay the minimum wage. So if the private organizations cannot pay the minimum wage, it implies that a reasonable proportion out of our labor force are not paid appropriately, are not paid accordingly, are not paid the minimum wage. There are a lot of private organizations, private schools in our areas, our private filling stations, restaurants, and several other organizations, all these small and medium-scale organizations, don't even pay the minimum wage, which is actually criminal. But nobody is enforcing that aspect of the law. However, the union should be pushing for a situation whereby the value of the Naira will increase against the dollar because we are an import-based economy. So that is what they should be pushing for. For now, I don't think it is sustainable to increase the minimum wage as we speak.
How do we put that side by side, the inflation we experience and the hike in goods and services?
I have said it.
Okay.
that at the initial point when this government came in,
Yeah.
there was serious inflation. But right now, in the last 7, 8, 10 months, the value of the naira is now predictable. There was a time that the naira to a dollar would be 2,000 naira. There was a time it nearly got to 2,000 naira. There was a time that some persons were even jumping for joy. They were going to exchange. They were saying that it should increase because they were buying people's property cheap. But now, reasonably, it has stabilized. The last time I checked, it's around 1,365. If you go to some banks, they will say 1,370. But it has stabilized relatively. We should look for a situation whereby the currency will stabilize more, maybe at, let's say, 1,200 to a dollar, so that we would be able to predict our expenses. What inflation does, especially when your currency loses value every market day, like some boys will say every AK market day, is that you are not able to predict what to buy, what to sell, where to invest. So, and they should also see to it that government is pushed to provide certain amenities that will encourage production. For example, you cannot go into production in any country. A country cannot be production driven if it does not have about 2 to 3 things. Steady power. We don't have that yet. Steady power supply. 2 is that if you want to go into industrialization, you must figure out your iron smelting. Let me use that local balance. We had the Ajakuta steel mill has been there before many of us were born. That project has not been completed as we speak. There's another one at Alaja in Delta State. That one started during the Shagari regime. Shagari led government in 1983. That project has not been completed till now. So, the reality today is that even if the salary is increased, what we are going to have is that we are going to have more inflation, because your landlord will increase his rent too. The man at the bakery will say flour is not expensive. He would increase it too. The man who is selling sugar will do the same. When we were on 35,000 naira, we know how much we were buying cement. Now that we are on 70,000 naira, cement is almost twice the price. So basically, the labor union should look for a way to ensure, to push the government to do more as regards power supply, and as regards empowering young people with the appropriate skills that can drive the economy. Right now, we are not doing that.
Okay.
Or we are not doing enough.
All right. Thank you very much for that insight. To share your contributions and also call regarding this topic, you can reach us on 081-6552-4699. Now, I'm seeing this headline that's really catching my attention because it would be misinterpreted, if not even wrongly interpreted already. Now, do not allow phone searches. FCTCP urges residents and youth. Now, the Commissioner of Police in charge of the Federal Capital Territory, CP Ahmed Sanusi, has urged residents, particularly youth, not to allow police officers to search their mobile phones during stop and search operations. Now, saying such actions violate the directive of the Inspector General of Police. Now, looking at this already, what is it interpreting, and what negative effect will this, this headline have on the organization, talking about the Nigerian police and the minds of Nigerians, an average Nigerian youth today?
Well, let me say that the reality today, as we speak, is that it does not make sense to argue with a man who is holding a firearm, a loaded firearm.
Okay.
It does not make sense. However, what is the position of the law and what is obtainable in SENA crimes? In SENA crimes, a phone is a private property. The same way you cannot enter my flat without an arrest warrant or a search warrant and search my flat, you are not expected to enter into a device that contains my letter of employment, my letter of promotion, my letter of commendation, a copy of my landed property, my financial status, the people I befriend, the names of my several girlfriends. I'm just giving an hypothetical picture of the reality. Okay, now it could also contain minute pictures. Maybe I had something in my body that is not open to everybody, but I've taken a picture and I've sent that picture to my doctor to see what I'm going through. Maybe my doctor lives in Kaura Namoda and I live here, but he's my family doctor. He asked me to send a picture of it. I have that picture on it. Nobody should violate my privacy. There are laws in Nigeria that covers that protect me from such violation. But we are living in an absurd society where absurdity has been promoted to the highest order. Just yesterday, the ICPC chairman was accosted by 3 policemen in Abuja. They didn't know he's the chairman of ICPC. They blocked him and they forced him to part with over I think 50,000 naira or more as bribes for an offense they cooked up that they said he committed. So I would advise Nigerians, although there's a law that protects you from handing your phone over to a man holding a gun, but you do not know the mental state of that man holding a gun. If you are in a public place where there are many people, maybe you can do it. Use discretion. You can say no, there's a law that says so. But if you are traveling along the express road, 10, 20 miles from that place, there is no human being, please give the person the phone. Let him do whatever he likes with the phone. Because if you catch me between Amuri and Emure, and you say I should give you my phone, I will hand over the phone. Because I know that whatever is what you want to see, none of them is more valuable than my life. In this Ondo state, as a young boy, I once read in the news that someone that along this Benin or Express Road, someone got shot for not giving a policeman 20 naira. He died. And the case also died a natural death. So it is important to use discretion when you approach this matter. The police have said it repeatedly, but if you know that you are traveling alone or you are defenseless, there are no witnesses, gentlemen, hand over that phone. That is my personal position until we see an improvement in the way members of the armed forces and the paramilitary treat members of the Nigerian public. Somebody just got shot in Delta some months ago in broad daylight at a motor park with more than 100 persons there. So, had that not taken place in the presence of others, has that incident not been videotaped, that guy would have died in vain. Even if he did not die in vain and he eventually gets justice, he's dead. That is my position.
Okay, now, the question I asked while reading out the headline was the fact that don't you think this revised, instructions to
It's not just an instruction. There are laws protecting a Nigerian.
What if the police have an information regarding the phone?
Whatever is the information you have. See, under the Nigerian law, you do not, yes, the police has a right to search anyone if he has suspicion. But the law says that the suspicion must be specific. Okay, we have information that you have done so and so. It's not that you have information that, Sheko Jole. It has to be specific that that person is a criminal or is culpable in a particular crime that is specified. But I have explained what the position in the eye of the law, but I'm also explaining the position in light of the reality of the country and the community and the experiences that we live in and we have had, respectively. So that's my position.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for those just joining. The program is the program is a political perspective on iPower 102.7 FM, and of course for your contributions and comments as regards what we're talking about regarding the instruction from the CP saying that Nigerian youth, should not give their phones to police officers during the stop and search. Yes, what's your take on it? And of course, on the other case being discussed earlier. Yes, it's still 08165524699. Yes, glad to have you back. The program is still Political Perspective, your number one insightful analysis for what the paper is saying. And of course, I have with me in the studios Alaba Adeyemi doing justice to the analysis regarding what the paper is saying. And of course, straight to the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have this headline that says Northern Christians query 1.9 billion naira church share in 8 billion naira religious budgets. Now, what the association is saying is the fact that how can there be 8.5 billion naira for churches and Marxist projects and only 1.9 is given to Christians, making it look as though there is this inequality among the Christians and the Muslims. Now they are saying they are not against the government coming to the aid of religious religion, but there should be some form of equity. So, as regards this headline, what do you have to say about it?
Well, my position is that the government, Nigeria, up to this morning, is a secular state. The government has no business. We discussed this on a Yoruba program yesterday evening. Has no business building churches and mosques for anybody. Anybody who wants to worship should find a place to worship. God lives everywhere. I'm not a Muslim. I'm a Christian, but I know that you can have the salat even along the roadside in an open space, and our people are already providing that for themselves. In a country where the average Nigerian cannot boast of 15 hours of power supply, in a country, yesterday I asked that when was the last time our people drank pipe-borne water, not borehole, not wells. There are 40-year-old men, 35-year-old Nigerians who have never drank water from the tap before, a public tap before. Now, it means that we don't have water. Now, there are areas that, the area where I live, on Saturday, the landlords association still came to my house to collect money to repair the road leading to where I live. And the government of such nation is busy building churches up and down. For who? Who told them we cannot build churches by ourselves? If you look at this from an historical perspective, in fact, as a matter of fact, many of the primaries and the secondary schools that are now called government schools were built by churches. So the churches and the mosques can take care of themselves. We live in a secular country. Let the religious organization take care of themselves. Like Jesus told the man that said he wanted to go and build a bury his dead. He said, let the dead bury the dead. What is the business of government? Now, the Northern Can that started. Do you know how the Northern Can started?
No.
They said that the Central Can is not bringing issues affecting the Northern Christian to the front burner. Less than 2 years now, they are contesting over who had more money, who got more allocation. This is not their business. Okay, the church that they are even agitating to be built now, If the insecurity continues, people are going to burn it, are coming. There was a year in the late 80s, in late 1980s, in Zaria, there were about 89 churches. In 1 week, 88 were burned to the ground. So what are we saying? It appears that many of our people who come to represent our people do not even know what our people want. Nigerians are so normalized, it's by virtually every basic thing that they should enjoy, they are providing for themselves. They are now their own local government. There's a local government in place in my community. I participated in that election as a voter. But the road to my house cannot be graded by the local government. The landlord association, the road has gotten so bad that many bike men don't go there anymore. They are now asking me to use my hard end. You see the way I'm screening now. This is my screaming money. To be contributing for what the local government is getting allocation to do. They are seeing this and they are not saying anything. Why should anyone be nominating that government should be building mosque? If you want to build mosque, gather those of you are worshiping there, contribute money and build a mosque. That was how our fathers did it in the past. And have we gotten shameless to the point where we don't know what our communities need? Go to many of our public schools, they are a mess. So, and that is why poverty has increased. Because nobody wants to put their children in public school again. Over 8 billion naira, 8.05 billion is now being set aside to build mosques and churches when we don't have schools. What I expect that the Northern Can should be telling the federal government to divert that money into giving people scholarships to go to acquire higher education. So the government has no business helping any church. It is you gather in the name of your faith. Do it. If you cannot build your church, if you cannot build a structure on which to worship in somebody's house. The apostles in the Bible worshipped in people's house. Is that not why the names like Aquila and Priscilla showed up in the Bible? Why should the government be building church? Why should the Nigerian government, a ridiculously poor country, where over almost 50 million people cannot feed themselves, are now building church? And the Northern Can are coming out that they give us 1.6, they gave the other person. See, I want you know.
Hello, good morning. Yes, what's your name and where you calling from?
Hello?
Why with you? Good morning. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm Shagun from Owo.
Oh, Shagun from Owo. What's the
Yesterday, I
contribution?
called to this program, the man there, this building churches.
Yes,
Okay.
I
said
remember, sir.
I said yesterday that go to Morocco and see what the fine stadium that they are building. And they don't see that one, which will be giving us money. And people and the young guys will be going there to pray. Because they be getting money from there. Say they are building their churches and their mosques. They are just using it to cajole us. That's my image.
Thank you, sir.
God bless.
Now, because this man mentioned stadium,
Okay.
Morocco has invested so well in sport in the last 10 years that they are now hosting every tournament that comes to Africa now goes to Morocco. Every major media thing that will attract media now goes to Morocco. They now have multiple stadiums. We only have one stadium that can host a FIFA standard match. And it was even built by a state government. The federal government of Nigeria does not own one stadium that can host a FIFA graded match as we speak. Now, the Ondo state government too has been attempting to build a new stadium in Akure in the last 25 years, and they have not built it. The stadium in Akure, even if Sunshine Stars gets into the African Champions League tomorrow, that stadium cannot host a Champions League. It's a 5,000-seater stadium. And for a whole year, last 2 years, that was how they got relegated. Sunshine Star did not play in Akure because the stadium was under repair for over 1 year. Now, let me also bring you to your notice that about some years ago, FIFA gave Nigeria money to build 2 standard stadiums that can at least where we can groom our new set of talents. The head of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, took that stadium project to his village. Maybe is it somewhere very close to Baramatu in Warri. That place is an island. That place you have to travel by water for over an hour to get there, where they want to be hosting international tournament because it's his mother's village. Now he went there. They have to be importing sand because it's waterlogged to fill the place. By the time the filling is finished, the funds got exhausted because he could have brought such project to our here where there's no water. He could have taken it to maybe Nasarawa, but he felt like that kind of project should be in his village. The village is not even accessible by land. So you mean that if you want to watch World Cup now, you who has not swimmed in your life before, we now enter boat that will capsize, or the engine will get spoiled on the way because you want to watch ball. These are the situations that we have in our country. This is how we don't grow. Now, I am disappointed in the Northern Can for asking the allocation for this person is bigger than their own. That should not be their interest. An organization that is speaking for over their members that are displaced, that cannot even stay in their villages now, are over 10 million. They are not talking about the welfare of their members in the IDP camps and how they are going to return home. They are talking about the allocation, about how to build church where they go born. So these are the situations that we have in our country, and that is why everyone that comes to speak speaks with needless sentiment that would not allow the country to grow. And that is why some persons are agitating for the separation of the country. Because when we are talking to the left, somebody is talking to the right. Please, let us just leave this particular topic. But I do not believe, up to this minute, that the government has a business. The government should not bring 1 cement to my church, 1 bag of cement. There's no point showing up in my church and bringing 1 bag. For what? We have built our church. Even Jesus said, I will build my church. He didn't say government will help me to build my church. Let's move on.
Thank you very much for that insight. 08165524699. If you have an aligned opinion or a contrary opinion to what Alaba is saying this morning, please do well to call us. 08165524699. Moving on, we have this one that says Nnamdi Kalu's lawyer threatens legal action over debt call. Now, one man named okay, we have a call already. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name and where you calling from?
Are you hear me?
Yes, we are with you. What's your name and where you shown? Hello?
Are you hear me?
We're with you. What's your name? Okay, 08165524699. 08165524699. Yes, do well to call us back. Now, the lawyer is threatening a legal action over one Chigozie Onabulgu, who is saying that if Nnamdi Kanu should die today, or if the government decides to kill him, trust me, normalcy will come back. And that is what every Igbo man is saying. Now, there have been different comments regarding this matter, because people are saying, how can you wish him dead? Like, why should his death become the normalcy that is expected to, to reign in a country like Nigeria?
The Mr. Chigozie Nwambugu spoke for himself.
Okay.
No, there is not, when he said that normalcy will come back when we kill Nnamdi Kanu, and then that's what every Igbo man is saying. The fact that he even attached, that is what every Igbo man is saying to the statement, shows that he was not speaking for the Igbo people. the majority of the Igbo people still consider Nnamdi Kanu innocent. I do not consider him innocent. But the majority of the people, Southeasterners, who speak every day, feels like he's innocent. Feels like he's been unnecessarily punished while terrorists, Boko Haram members are being rehabilitated. Feels that to balance the equation, that he should be let go and also be rehabilitated or be negotiated with. As a matter of fact, a prominent Igbo person who is contesting in the next election, who has contested before, has also said that he would negotiate with all the troubling factions in the country and all those things. So basically, Mr. Chigozie Nwambugu is, I don't know what his understanding of every Igbo man.
Now, what's
means.
your position on the legal team?
Nnamdi Kanu my belief is that committed a crime.
Okay.
Went to court, had his day in court, was given an opportunity to defend himself, chose to dismiss his lawyers, chose to keep asking the judge, where is the law? Where is the law? You know me, that I am somebody who likes history and documentation. When you want to twist the story, I will remind you of how the story happened. Had opportunity at the point where he should speak, at the point where the lawyers should help him buy time. He said he no longer needs the service of a lawyer. He spoke for himself, asked Omotosho, where is the law? Where is the law? The video is online, on multiple platforms. Where is the law? At the end of the day, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. As a matter of fact, many people who have read the Cybercrime Act under which he was charged said that the judge was lenient because that offense carries the maximum sentence. However, he has been sentenced to life imprisonment. He has a chance to appeal. He has appealed. I think that he should see out that particular thing. And if the president feels like he should release him, he has the prerogative of mercy under the law to do so, to let him go. But I think that he committed a crime because the evidence, like boys will say, evidence is yapa. The evidence is online. And those offenses he committed, he had a time to speak. He did not speak. He did not cancel out those offenses. So basically, the government has a chance to let him go or wait until the appeal is done, which maybe they will appeal to the Supreme Court too. Nobody can say. But whatever happens, and if the government feels that it will bring peace, to release him. But I do not think that anybody should be saying that Nnamdi Kanu should be killed. The court did not say so. And Mr. Nwambugu, or whatever he calls himself, Mr. Chigozie, cannot turn himself to the court of law. I watched his interview. I was disappointed in his conduct in that interview. Nnamdi Kanu has a control of a large chunk of the streets in the southeast, but is not a member of Ansaru, ISWAP, or Boko Haram. So even if peace is restored to the southeast, there's still problem.
So his death or his...
it will not be tied to his death. That is my position.
Okay, thank you very much. And moving on away from that, this is on state police. Now, weighing Nigerian security needs against the risk of political capture. Ever since the case of state policing came on board and has gained momentum, we have had diverse direction of what could be or what is obtainable or what might be the end result if eventually the bill becomes, has come to stay. Now, looking at this one, Nigeria's renewed push to establish state police has reopened one of the country's most consequential constitutional debates, pitching the urgent need to confront worsened insecurity against persistent fear that decentralizes policing that could become a prominent weapon in the hands of political leaders. Now, looking at this case now, many of the fears that this will be used as a tool for governors if it eventually comes to become a law. Now, the controversy has gathered unprecedented momentum following President Bola Tinubu's endorsement of the state police bill currently before the National Assembly. While many feel it's a good push, others are saying that the idea of we might become a problem in the future if it gets to the hands of the governors.
Those who are saying it do not know what they are saying. We have a situation in our hands where some persons, mostly of a particular ethnic group, move around committing crime in places that are not their ancestral space. And everywhere where a federal government is in operation, the best example is the United States. The federating unit has a law enforcement agency. So anyone who is saying that we should continue a federating unit, a federal government agency, is not a serious person. It's not a serious person. At this point in the history of our country, nobody should be talking about maybe governors will control it. And whether they like it or not, there is already some form of state policing. We already have Amatekun in the south, in 5 southwest states, and we also have the neighborhood watch in Lagos. They already have Ishba in many states in the north that is enforcing the Sharia law against beer. In Borno, they already have some civilian JTF. As a matter of fact, virtually every rescue that has been done in Nigeria in the last 2 years has the hand of the local people in it. What is wrong in saying, let us have these local people who know their environment well in a group, proper police formation, with laws, with rules of engagement, with proper reward for their labor, and with safety for the people. They say they might be using it against their opponents. Amatekun so far does not participate in electoral issues. It's in the Ondo State law. It's like that in all the Southwest states. It can be replicated too. It can be fine-tuned. But as we speak today, Nigeria is about 250 million. The federal police is less than 400,000. Almost 50% of that 400,000 is already guarding VIPs, helping their wives to carry bag, running after their destiny. They are big men who are not even ministers, who are just director of a parastatal, having 3 policemen stationed with them. And we are saying that a man from Kano cannot investigate crime appropriately in Ipele, in Obashoto. What we are saying is that let us have a structure where a man from Ilale Oko will guard Ilale Oko, so that if he now betrays the people, our people knows his father's house and his mother's compound. We know what to do to those compounds when time happens. There are times that people will commit offenses in local districts that they will go and put palm frond in front of their house to show that they are offenders, that the house is no longer a place that people should go until the people have been placated. What are we saying? Anyone who is not saying that you don't have this thing because the governors might use it, the person is not serious. We are talking about safety here. We are talking about the life of our people here. We are talking about we have an existential threat at our doorstep. We have people who will come here, commit crime. When we talk, they will say every Nigerian has a right to live everywhere. When we catch them and deal with them and ask them to dance kukere in public, people will now say that they are not one of them, or they are from Mali. So when we have state police, we will now know who is from Mali and who is from Owo. It's as simple as that. So that we'll be able to separate the Malians from Nigerians. We must have state police. It must happen now. As a matter of fact, if I have a chance to see the president today, I will say, don't do it after the election. Do it now. I thank God and I bless the memory of Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. What did he actually do when we wanted to start the Amotekun? He knew that they would frustrate it. So before they started making the law for the Amotekun, they started the Amotekun first before passing the law. Today we have the Amotekun. And nobody can ignore Amotekun in the security of Ondo State or of any southwestern state. So enough of if he gets to the governor, they will do this, they will do that. The governors, if they want to oppress you, already have enough power to oppress you. They can demolish your house. It happened in Oyo. Why Seyi Makinde was dancing around town saying that this thing, he was demolishing houses of people who are perceived to be opponents. Didn't Ajimobi demolish Ayefele's radio house? Is Okpebolo not demolishing houses of cultists? So what is anybody saying at this point in time in our life, in our national life? And Uromi man should guard Uromi. Is it too bad to ask for? Is it too bad to say at this point in time, I don't need a policeman, that we need an interpreter to investigate a crime that happened in my neighborhood? Employ my brother who understands Owo to investigate what is happening in Owo. He will know the no-go areas. As a matter of fact, I have lived in Akure to a point where if somebody sees your phone, or you say somebody, you fall into the hands of 419, there are people in Akure who have lived long in that place to know, àwọn ọmọ báyìí báyìí ló ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn. A total stranger cannot know. So that's what we are asking for. Why we are asking for is, some people are talking about technicalities, hypothetical possibilities, inanities. So at this point in time, if anybody is rising against the creation of state police.
Thank you very much for that insight. The program is still Political Perspective on iPower 102.7 FM. Yes, for those just joining and wondering what we're doing, we're just taking a deeper insight into what the paper is saying this beautiful Tuesday morning. You're still considering the headlines, and lastly from Daily Post talking 2027. Now, where we have a Peter Obi saying, I would not persecute opposition as Nigerian's president. You know, oftentimes they've tagged it's been tagged that Peter Obi appears to be a social media in quotes president, because he always has opinions and things to say every time on the media. But looking at what he just said, do you think if he's not persecuting opposition when he becomes a president of Nigeria, do you think that is an added advantage or should be a mark point for him?
Well, what constitutes persecution?
Okay.
A person is persecuted when he's innocent, but he's being oppressed. Abi?
Yeah.
For serving the government for 8 years. And he cannot explain how he got 48 houses. And they seized the house. Is that persecution? Somebody came on national television to say that he's listening to the call. He has the mechanism to listen to the call plan, that before they do anything he already knows. Okay, the person should be allowed to go. Surely a man who openly confessed that he was giving money to terrorists while he was in government, a man who threatened international observers that if they come to body bags, okay, he's innocent, Abi. Now, the powers of the government can be deployed. The government is carrying a sword. should be deployed to punish offenders, whether it's in their party or in the opposition party. A person is being persecuted. Why is Obi not in court? Because they don't search him, they don't see evidence. That's why he's outside and talking. That's why he's freely speaking. But in the case of the people he is attempting to speak for, let me now be specific. Malame and El Rufai. Under El Rufai, people from southern Kaduna, thousands of them were brutally sacked from the civil service of Kaduna. The southern Kaduna people were so oppressed. So if table now turns, a persecutor is now being supposedly persecuted, are we not supposed to reap what we sow? Today now, he is in court. He has been granted bail. He is not able to perfect that bail. What is the bail condition? Get 200 million and get the council of chiefs in your town to sign for you. That same bail condition was imposed on Showore. Showore, who has never been a councillor in Nigeria, who is just a private citizen. 200 million and a first class king. Another 2 days, the king in his of the Akpoi people, Professor Amushaga, said he will stand for him. 200 million not complete sharply because the people of the community feels like he's one of them. So the question is that if you were governor for 8 years, ministers for almost 6 years, and the head of BPE for about another 2 years, and you cannot meet the condition that a private citizen like Showore met, what it means is that you didn't treat your people well when you had power. I'm not saying that anybody should be persecuted, but if somebody is found to have committed a crime, let him do the time.
Okay, so dialogue of communication is not the way out. Now, because of our time, I want you to give us your pattern short as regards the NPL take as regarding the minimum wage, which you already did. Also talking about the stop and search of do not search the phones from the CP, and also lastly regarding the state police and of course what Peter Obi had to say. Very quickly, please.
Well, quickly, one, at this point in time, Nigerians should streamline their demands to asking for better public and critical infrastructure, better education that is cheap and accessible to the poorest of us. That's what you should be asking for now. Two, if you are holding a phone and you are alone in the middle of forest and a man who is holding a gun, cocked or uncocked, is asking you for your phone, and there are no people around, please give him the phone.
Okay.
Your life is worth more than whatever is in that phone. As regards the issue of persecution, anyone who has stolen money, whether he stole it 20 years ago or 30 years ago or last year, or who has wealth that you cannot explain and is now in court, and court is now seizing the property, or is granted bail and he cannot meet the bail condition, he's not being persecuted. He's being punished for an offense that he committed until he is able to prove that he didn't commit those offenses.
Thank you very much, Alaba Adeyemi, for your beautiful insight and critical analysis. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
I'm very grateful for your time. Thank you very much.
Yes, as we draw the curtains on today's edition of Political Perspective. We are reminded that governance is about making decisions that improve the lives of people. And of course, the call by the Nigerian Labour Party NLP for the new minimum wage highlighter the ongoing conversations about workers' welfare and the rising cost of living. Also, the warning by the FCT Commissioner of Police against the phone search by unauthorized persons serves as an important reminder that citizens should know their rights, and while cooperating with lawful security agencies, they should know when to draw the lines. Also speaking as regards a renewed debate on state police as it continues to divide with divided opinions, while many see it as a need and of course a due process, others see it as or might become an abuse of power. Ultimately, democracies thrive when leaders are accountable and when institutions are strong and when members of the public remain informed and actively engaged. As always, the future of our nation depends not only on those in power but also on the participation and vigilance of every Nigerian. And with that, I will close the curtain on today's edition of Political Perspective. My name is Florence Ibhareman. Until we come your way again, same time, same station, for another insightful and educating edition of Political Perspective, I implore you to please stay informed.